I would like to welcome Borre Akkersdijk as a guest in our Bus Chair Conversations, a series of dialogues with people from arts and culture about slowing down and thinking about the future. Borre is the founder and an art director at Borre, an Amsterdam-based textile innovation studio working on the frontiers of material development, functionality, and aesthetics through engineered knits. Hello, Borre. I have a first question for you. I'm interested in your personal testimony. How has the current lockdown affected your life and your work? Have you changed?
I don't know if I've changed, but I believe there's always sort of you're two persons. You're the person that you became due to all the things in the world and that made you,
Right?
and you're the inner child that just is. And I dare to say that that inner child and that rest and looking at the surroundings got a lot more attention, and I'm very I'm very grateful for that actually.
You feel more relaxed?
I think my personality in general is I don't stress that much, so you can throw a lot at me and I will have maybe moments that I'm like think like ooh, but I will not go to bed with that stress. Um, but this is different. Of course, this is different. It's suddenly an an invitation to rethink everything that you have been doing, and not only rethink your own things, but you see everybody doing it. I think the funny thing is, like, I've recalled this, like, of course I have this conversation a little bit of this type of conversation lately, and there's one thing that jumps out, and I've been working since 2010, and there was always a lot of potential and a lot of interesting things. But actually, from the moment in 2015 when I met my business partner, we really started to create the business and the bigger company, and changing it into a sort of a dream that is possible. Like, it was not just a dream; it was a mission. And in January and February, January we did Paris Fashion Week. We had a show in CES with BMW. In February, we went to Tokyo to show everything, and I said to my business partner and the people around me, it's like, this is it, lift off, lift off. Like, it was the moment.
Pilot speaking?
Yeah, but it was the moment that a lot of people talk about. It's a sort of when you just see it all like poof. It just came together. Our concepts, all the clients, they all lined up and they all said yes, 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 yes. And suddenly it was like we made the growth we set every single year, but this was like different. This was different. And 1 month later, it was like beep. And the funny thing is, I looked at my business partner, we saw everybody putting the jobs on hold. And I honestly thought, this could be the best. If we survive it, we're gonna look back and say, that was the best thing that could have ever happened to Borre, because we've been saying it is too fast, it is too much, it is not transparent, all these things.
You're speaking of fashion.
Fashion and life, like, definitely textile, but textile is, there's nothing in life we use more than textile. So in that sense, it's a big part of us. I'm calm.
How do you think is the new decade going to be different from the previous one? What is one crazy idea you wish for the future to bring?
Loose from that the decade we had was a lot about talking,
Yeah.
and a lot about, like, people explaining and building facades or smoke curtains to show what to hide behind the greenwashing or the solutions. The difference for the coming decade is suddenly the world stopped and the smoke curtains dropped and everybody saw what was happening. So everybody realizes that it needs to be transparent. So, and I don't think that the solution is technology. It's a means to an end. You can use technology to do a lot of things better, but it is the realization that on two levels, on the lowest level in the sense of the purest level and the closest to yourself, and not for the general public, for everybody. Doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, like everybody has to do it. And it's I'm in a very privileged place to talk about that, and I've realized that very much. But I also see that big problems cannot be solved without pain, and you see that, and you see those things happening. So I think it's a beautiful place where we are at now, that people really have to do it, and if you don't, you're able to be called out. You're a dick. Like, it's not like, well, you're a good businessman. It's like, what do you do with your money? How do you work with it? What is your goal? And I think that it's gonna be more honest than ever before, and the problems are better shared than ever before. And there's a lot of conversations that we can pass by and that I find interesting, and there's a lot of elite talking about like, oh, hope and yeah, but it's also I think it's very realistic to say that we all have to do this together. And never before were the private jet billionaires that were put down on the ground so literally and put face to face with reality, and looked at somebody next to them as like, we're all in this together. We're all in it together. And that I find interesting, and that is a paradigm shift. That is something that never happened in humanity since we're here, or at least in even the generations for us. It's 100 years ago that it happened, but the world was different. So that I find super interesting. It's definitely a sort of, I couldn't have imagined a change since the internet and all that humanity didn't control. And the funny thing is, ignorant and also arrogant of human beings to say like, oh no, the biggest change come from humans. Like, it's the same, the most beautiful things made, like, it's not humans, it's the nature, it's everything around us. It's like, we're happy that we're part of it, and it's cool that we can give ourselves meaning in between. But we're just here for a fraction of time, and that I find interesting, and especially when you're now, that it's suddenly so, poof, reality. It's daily life, let's deal with it.
For a couple months now, the schools have been closed. New forms of learning and teaching are being tested. You have studied at the Design Academy and managed to establish yourself globally. What do you think? Does education matter in one's career, or is it a matter of personal drive and obsession?
Education is a privilege in that sense. I think it's important, but I think there's new ways of learning, and especially with the system that is, we run so hard with a system that is proven to be very fragile and has a lot of mistakes too. So the education that we built to facilitate that system, yeah, for me it feels like it's lacking too. So in that sense, I think education is a very important part to stimulate people to learn.
Yeah.
But I think now the learning starts. It's wider than that.
Yeah.
But a form of education is super important. Now, like everybody has to be at home. You see, I think the people that have structure, they thrive with it. They grow.
Right.
If you don't have structure, look, you don't know what to do. So in that sense, to help yourself with structure, it especially in this day and age, because everything is set up to be lazy. Yeah, you don't have to hunt for your food and stuff, and that's like it. Of course,
Thriving comfort.
totally. So that means that everything comes to you, but that also means that you don't do anything, and in the end, like that physical, you're gonna like fall apart.
You are known for pushing the boundaries of technology in fashion. That's how I see it. And combining it with quite functional yet hip designs. What do you think of the age-old fear of technology as Prometheus or Frankenstein embody? Thing that comes back to haunt you. And I'm asking this because we talked about technology as something that it's your domain, something that you've built your company around.
And especially in the beginning, we pushed technology very much as there's opportunity.
Yeah.
There's opportunity to help you. I think, and I always try to, because technology is something very hard to grasp nowadays, because you don't see it, and it does more than we can imagine, and understand. Yeah. We can only make a few links with the human brain. We can make a lot, but we don't understand the consequences of the things that we do now, what they will mean in 20 years.
Right.
Technology.
I'm asking about the Prometheus and Frankenstein.
Yes.
We get excited about things that can have a backlash.
And, 100%. I think, and that's a very fair question, and it's also, I think that's going to be a problem that we don't foresee.
What do you think is happening in fashion, particularly, that we should be much more not afraid but careful about?
Greed. Yeah. It's the biggest problem that we created is like the fact that we use nothing more than textile is because it protects us. Yeah. In the easiest way, it's like to not be naked, and that we cultivated it, like as human beings, to not being naked, and it helps within a lot of steps during the day to give you comfort. The only thing is we loaded the function with a lot of sort of story.
Yes.
So who are you, and who do you want to be, and how can you show yourself that way? That meant that we suddenly thought we needed these things where we not physically need them. So the fact that we don't understand that means that we use more than we actually can use is very dangerous, because actually hardly any humans realize what the real cost is and the real resources. It would be silly, like if you would put a plate of food in front of somebody in the evening, and next to that you would put 5 crates of food, and they say, this is what you need, this is what we're going to throw away. You would say like,
no way.
This is stupid, but that's almost how it works with clothing. So and that's also why I said transparency is going to be so important, because it's all about, if we want to be here with all these people, like I'm already in a privileged position, but imagine that I would say, no, I want to keep my life. So the way it is. The real problem is then if then I should want everybody to have this life. It's not possible. We don't have the resources to do that. We will burn this planet totally. And that means that, or I'm saying there's too many people to comfort my lifestyle. So I hope a lot of people will not be here. That's also something that I don't mean and I don't believe. So it is, I think we have to understand that in reality, what do we have? But that's a very difficult discussion. Because why was I allowed or somebody else allowed to have all these things? And we can now say to the younger generation, let's stop this. Sorry. So but it's what I think that's what needs to happen in a certain way.
Well, depends. I'll be devil's advocate. Depends how you sell it to the younger generation.
100, I believe that.
The quote, I think it's Oscar Wilde, fashion is so ugly, it has to change every 3 months.
It's a nice quote, though.
Is sustainability basically a contradiction in fashion?
Yes. Yeah. The only thing that's really sustainable is to not make. And especially, it's one of those facades.
Yeah.
I'm building the whole system. What we're doing is looking at the supply chain. How I don't want to make, even for myself or for the studio, the only thing what I believe is how can we create conscious creators that would thrive on the fact of not doing something.
Set an example. And that's the form of education. How do you create?
Yes.
Following only making new heroes.
Yeah, no, but I think that's the thing. Creating conscious creators is very powerful. Creating a movement, and the moment, like how I look at it, is also everything I learn from the supply chain and needs to be part of a system I give to other creators. So openly let them use it. And for me, if I find out that I can use the true color of a material and it has a very nice aesthetical value, you can brand that to be better. And actually what you brand is to not use coloring. And the same is to educate and to also ask the question, if you're making something, for who are you making it, really? And if you understand for who you're making it, you will also not produce for a not knowing amount of people.
Right.
So, and I think that's very interesting and something that I think needs to change, because I think in a sense, like we're made to consume. We've built that system, and also literally, like, you eat and you have to take care. The good thing is now we realize that we can do it with a lot less, and it's more beautiful probably. So there's an interesting balance, because I believe we can do better very, very rapidly.
Have you found solace in a particular work of art in these trying times? Can be both private or public artwork. Has anything
Solace?
solace, refuge, or something that made you stand in awe? Something that rescued you from whatever was happening right now.
Yeah.
Can you tell me?
Yeah. The funny thing is, what totally saved me and made me a more happy person was 2 ballet guys that at noon every day they do an hour training, and it's on YouTube. It's funny, but the only thing is that their whole life the thing that they did is they worked with their body. So for them, what they said is like, and they're party kids. Like, they do the ballet, but they're DJing, and they said, like, we're in the house, like, we want to share what at least makes us a little bit happy. And I saw my girlfriend, like, it was one of their first sessions, I think day 4 or something. And she was laughing with her headphones on, and she was like jumping around. And I was like, what you're doing? She's like, yeah, they're just doing a little gym session. I started the day after, every single day. Sometimes I skipped a day and did it the day after or something. I moved, and I haven't moved that much since my period before I went studying. I trained as a kid judo from my 5th to my 20th, and I did it quite a lot. But suddenly I'm flexible again. Things that I was hurting in my back before because I was flying so much, those things are gone, and I'm like, it's so stupid that I didn't solve that problem before. Just think about my body, just think about myself for a moment, and not in a sense like thinking about myself that I need stuff. No, I need to pay attention for me. My 10 minutes of meditation in the morning, my hour of sporting in the afternoon or evening, totally sort of dissolved numerous things that I was struggling with, physically and mentally.
Amazing.
And it's so simple, and it also makes me feel so stupid too.
What is the quality of in this case, public performance? What is the quality that makes the artwork engaging?
The funny thing is, they've been doing it to keep flexible, like, and to make art. They're ballet dancers, very good ones. So it is not to build muscle. It's not, and all these things, when you go to the gym or you go kickboxing, it's like, okay, I have to be busy.
Yeah, the some kind of performance-driven result.
Exactly. This is not about performance. This is just being there and enjoying that moment. The fact that I can now stand up and touch my toes, like, was unthinkable 2 months ago. So but that, I think it is that social interaction, because I do miss that social interaction, but it is also the connectivity to, like, to yourself. It's like looking in.
What does the future hold for art as a material experience? I mean, you are in the material experience world, in the furthermore digitalized and fast-consuming appetites. I'm interested what you think in terms of reproducing less and digitally consuming more, or does the digital world inform how we design? You share things on Instagram, you share things on Facebook, social media. We visit museums based on seeing images first, and then we decide whether we want to actually physically experience something. How does that going to affect, let's say, fashion in that sense, or is it already happening?
There you see the first changes. Like for me, like last week it was Yves Saint Laurent that said, we're not gonna do fashion weeks anymore. So there were more that said it before, but this is a very big house with a big tradition that sets the tone. So, and if you look at the couture, it was already a bit different. And the funny thing is, it doesn't matter how much artists produce. That's not the problem in the world. It doesn't matter. There's only a few industries that are the problem, like that use. Oh, if it's oil, it's fashion, it's energy, it's like it's definitely transport. It's wanting things from the other side of the world, and that's very much a problem. So food is also definitely a part of it. It's all about making it very easy. So you rather buy something that you can actually make very easily yourself in a plastic box, what is marketed well, than that you just put flour and 1 egg and some milk and you make your own pancakes. So but that's, I think that's I think for me, where if I look at art, like, we've been to an art school, design school, whatever. You're raised throughout the decennia what changed it, art and design, and they became part, and painting and blah 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 blah. And I think and then it was like a sort of performance art and stuff, and they all got a little box. The next generation, they don't care about boxes. It is what it is. So it is what steers people. For me, it is so much more open than ever before. Is the first meme not an art piece? Because it suddenly triggered everybody to think differently. So, and that can be digital. And I understand in the old system that art had a value. But that value can mean something different. So there will always be, not always, there will be an old generation that holds on to it. And they want to probably touch it, and they want to be the only one having it.
Right.
But letting go of owning is something that you see more and more coming, and the young generation. So where I believe is I think art can be more than ever everything.
I think about it more as a poetry. You cannot own a poem in some sense. I mean, I can always say it. I can always consume it.
That's beautiful.
In the sense, this digitalization of our consumption is some kind of a gift and salvation for overconsumption and mass production, because somehow this desire to let's say this visual orgy that we are so used to is already satisfying part of us that it actually is good for the environment. You're less likely to want something. Maybe it's enough to see it as it is. We could live in a fake world. I love artwork that I've never seen. I love artists and particular artworks that are in art books, and I've never seen them in my real life. It's crazy, and you can think about the future like this, that eventually we will love digital artworks that actually never existed.
Yeah, but yeah.
And
It's funny that you say that, actually. I think because it's so much more open and so much more people, you rather share it with a lot more people than one person own it. So, like, for instance, of course, like the big meme of the Miami Art Basel was the banana on the wall. It said it all.
yeah,
But as a statement,
forgot the tape.
yeah, it had to stick there. You're totally right. But as a statement, of course, it's hilarious. It's so simple, and every artist lies if they don't want their art piece to make that kind of impact. So and I'm not like for the ego, but it is like everybody thought something about it, something different than they maybe meant. And I thought it was very intriguing, even that I understand that real artists hate it. But if you hate it, then
There's something true about it.
yeah, but then yeah, definitely. And you take yourself too serious.
Right.
And that I find so nice. And it can only happen in the art world.
Yeah.
So that's the clash.
And what do you think of art in public spaces? Do we need more of it?
I didn't miss art also because I live next to a park, and I still like my world, of course, is very sort of aesthetically. Yes, I sit on it. And sits very comfortable too. But I didn't miss it because I think a big part of my connections and people that I have around me are artists. And what I find, so I have more art around me than probably ever before.
Right.
My girlfriend is a photographer. She shoots world campaigns. She sometimes had to fly to Mexico to do one shoot, and then insane. And suddenly there was no work We were supposed to be in Mexico. She was supposed to shoot a film there, and we didn't go. And the moment that she said, I don't know what to do, I don't have work, and she's very close to herself already, she started making things, and it became pure. She started shooting everything we ate and around the house, and I saw more beautiful things created in the house than I normally see. Of course, I'm at the studio, and the same thing happens at the studio too, because we all are separately now there. So there's one person in the lab, one person in the atelier. And if I come there every other day to check the things, it's like, it's little gems, because I haven't been in between. It's like, oh, pop, pop, pop. Yeah. It's like little, like mushrooms that pop. And it's magic, and I think that's also, I think it brings very much pure beauty, and not too much like big, too difficult. Yeah, but look at how much plastic I used in this huge thing. It's like, yeah, but really.
Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. How does it feel to sit in this chair? All right, Vlad says everything. In every interview, we do these fire questions. It's a series of 5 questions.
Left.
I didn't ask you anything.
Oh,
yet,
okay.
So, you have to answer immediately. You ready? Dior or Balenciaga?
Balenciaga, but
okay. Men's fashion or women's fashion?
Men's.
Socks or no socks?
Ooh, socks.
Jeff Koons or Damien Hirst?
Whoa, stupid. Koons.
Morning or evening?
Both together.
Thank you so much, Borre, for coming. Lovely, it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Wait a little bit. I would love to give Borre the present that we give to every guest as a token of my appreciation and our appreciation of you coming here and sharing a little bit of your life with us.
No, it's a pleasure. What I said when you gave me a call. Anytime we can have together with a good.
So, as a memory of this lovely nature setting, sitting in the chair and the conversation we had, you have some nice physical,
amazing,
not digital thing to have.
Thank you very much.